Hi guys.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Good morning. Fine, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm actually in Austin, so it's a couple hours ahead, so it's kind of nice.
I'll be there next week.
Oh, very nice.
Just, just after I do your next in-person community meeting.
I met with somebody from, and I don't remember where, and you guys had done a study with them a while ago. I just was in a class and they said that they were very complimentary
Okay.
from Cedar Hills, Texas.
Yeah, we just finished that study last year.
Yeah, they were very complimentary. So
Oh, fantastic. Good to hear. We
yeah,
are currently working for Kyle, which is a suburb of Austin, and I'll be doing a community meeting there next Saturday.
very nice. It's lovely here right now, so
Good. It's not so lovely in the Bay Area right now.
I heard it's very rainy.
Yep.
I'm from Central Valley, California. My mom texted me this morning and said it's very rainy here.
Ah,
Morning, everyone.
good morning.
In a uniform and everything.
Wow.
You know, it's only up top.
I think I'll go get a jacket. I won't do a tie. I haven't done ties since COVID.
No, there's no point. I did a black t-shirt. It looks semi-professional.
You know, Chief, I could peel this off and just go black t-shirt also.
It's your choice.
I don't, I can't be more formal than the Chief.
Well, I'm traveling, so I did not pack a uniform with my travels.
You're gonna buy.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's 10:01. I don't know if we want to give it a few minutes to see if we want to.
Since we only have, I can't tell, a couple of community members, maybe it'd be good to wait a couple minutes.
Give everybody a minute. It was my login was challenging. I had to wait for some stuff and it wasn't connecting right. So it did take, I tried like 10 minutes, it took me like 10 minutes to get logged in.
Oh, no.
It was me though, so.
Yeah, I know if people haven't been on Zoom in a while, it forces you to do updates and all kinds of things.
True. Since I'm
And
on,
for some reason that like Mindcast where I have to enter my thing to authenticate is not working for any of my devices. So I can't authenticate. I have to go to IT and get it fixed.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, it's not. So it's literally shut down. I think the Mindcast is blocking Mindcast, which I don't think is the point. It's a little bit extra. Oh yeah, our other assistant chief just said that he's trying to get on Zoom and he's struggling, so.
oh. I never have that problem because I'm on Zoom like 7 hours a day.
Yeah.
But when it does happen, it happens 30 seconds before an absolutely necessary meeting.
Yeah, or it shuts you down and you're like, I guess I
Right.
don't have anything happening
Right.
here.
Better?
Costume change, I love it.
Yeah, the link was a little bit timely to get into. It's probably going to take them a minute. Hey, Chief. If we
Yes,
get close to the noon o'clock hour, I might have to get off a little bit early.
no worries.
Yeah. To get the boy over to MEPS to get his
Fine,
and processing stuff. Should be fun.
fine. Yeah, I'll be able to stay on. It's funny you confused me when you said that because of my time change. I was like, it's already noon.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're gonna be all messed up and discombobulated when you get home.
I am, but I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Not like you're in Europe.
Yeah, that was a big change for me. That was a hard one to come back from.
Yeah.
One of your advisory board members today invited us to the University of Nevada, Reno to watch the blue on silver game on the field.
Oh,
Eric Kovac, he was looking for you and Jamie.
oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, you would have loved it.
Darn.
So Chief, we didn't rehearse this, but do you want to start out with just a couple of introductory comments?
Absolutely.
Okay, that'd be great.
I don't rehearse anything. I'm on the fly all the time, so I can always start with introductory comments.
Good, me too.
I do much better when I'm on the fly.
Yeah.
If you write something down for me to remember, I'm not going to do it. My brain's like
Okay.
revolts. I won't.
It's not just that, but I feel constrained, and you know the script maybe isn't how the meeting is going.
I speak from my heart every day. You never
Very
know what you're going to get.
most of the
Sometimes for
time.
like actual speeches and stuff, if I'm like a graduation or something, I'll do some talking points, but
Yeah.
I'm not real. Yeah, I just don't, it's not my thing. I've never
Yeah.
got good at that.
It's about 7 after. Do we want to kick it off?
Yeah, we can get started. I'm good with that. Okay. All right, so I guess I will start it off since we just found out that's what I'm doing. So hello, everybody. If you missed the convo about how we were going to start this off, we haven't rehearsed. So it's really up to, I think, the group to kind of dictate what we want to talk about and the needs. And we do have a script and we'll go through that, I'm kind of an impromptu person in general. So this started because we just really needed I personally needed some better understanding of what patrol deployment could look like in the city of Reno, and not stifle ourselves by things that we've done in the past or challenge those that we faced that didn't work, but really looking at what a best practice was. I have truly felt that this was outside my abilities with a full-time job and being as busy I am. So that's how we found a consultant and said, hey, can you help us out with this and give us some ideas of how we can better deploy resources in that patrol sense of a capacity. And by patrol, I mean our uniformed officers' presence that are responding to calls for service on the day-to-day basis. So when our community members call the police and need some help, who's going to be there to help them out, or with a Reno Direct request or anything else, who are the ones that are actually going to be the ones that are going to handle those? The other types of things that we do in the police department, for anybody that might not know, is that the follow-up and that kind of more, I'm not going to say advanced, but that continuation of that initial response, which some things do fall into, and then undercover work and things like that. So that type of stuff, I think once we figure out, we build out patrol, we can look at the bigger picture of the rest of the responses. But for right now, we're really focused on that. What does patrol response look like? And so that's why we've enlisted the help of the consultant to give us some ideas on how we could better both meet the needs of the community and make sure that we're incorporating officer wellness and their ability to handle calls for service, be proactive, but also have schedules that allow them time away from work in a manner that makes sense. So those are kind of the things that we're looking at. And then also the one thing I did forget is training. Training is a big component of what we do and how we can incorporate our everyday training into our patrol schedules to make sure that we still have the ability to respond to calls on the street, even while keeping our officers as trained as we can. So that's kind of where we started. And so I will turn it over. That's the background. And for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Catherine Nance. I'm the chief for Reno. And I've been here a little over a year. So I've had about a year to get my feet wet, kind of understand what we're doing, and kind of understand the needs. And that's how this came about.
Thank you, Chief. Unrehearsed and perfect. I appreciate that. So I'm Richard Brady. I'm the president of Matrix Consulting Group, and I'm the leader of a group of consultants who are working with the police department right now on exactly the study that the chief described. And we've been working on this project for a couple of months now, collecting data and interviewing within the department. We have an employee survey out there, but now's the time to hear from the community. So we've scheduled a series of community meetings, both like this, virtual, but also a couple in person, to hear from the community about their views on current service delivery from the police department's patrol operations, but also what they'd like to see as we look out in the future. So while I haven't rehearsed something specifically, I do have a slide deck that I'm going to go through. So what my intention is to spend about 10 to 15 minutes introducing the study and what we're doing in the study, what our objectives are, the timeline, but really quickly get into hearing from you. And while I've got some ideas of the things that I'd like to hear from the people who were present at this and other meetings, this can go in any direction about patrol services that are important. But it is important to recognize that this isn't a study of the entire department. It is a study of patrol. So let me give a little bit more of an introduction about me and our firm. So we're in our 21st year, but me and some other people in the firm go back twice as long as that. While we provide many services to local government, and local government is our only service delivery platform, law enforcement is by far our largest area. We work with over 400 police departments around the country, two other ones in Nevada, Las Vegas Metro and Elko. We've worked for Reno before and other kinds of studies, human resources, other kinds of administrative services, and fire. So we're very familiar with the Reno service environment, and we're excited about this study to work with the police department. Our team is comprised of people who are people like myself, who are law enforcement analysts, and we've done that our entire careers, but also with people who used to be in law enforcement as professionals up to the level of chief and are now analysts. They're not on our team for window dressing. They're here because they're really great analysts as well, but it provides some extra dimension to our analysis that really helps a lot. The other thing that characterizes us is that we're fact-based, and especially a study like this, as the chief described, it's all about staffing and deployment, and it's a fact-based kind of problem to look at where calls occur, where there's need for officers to be more proactive than perhaps they are right now, and to look at scheduling and deployment alternatives are all factual kinds of questions that we are going to be looking at. So we don't just analyze the problem, we provide a plan to implement our solutions where they represent maybe long-term additions to the staff or changes in the way resources are managed in the patrol. Okay. The study. This will repeat a little bit about what the chief said. So again, this study is looking at patrol staffing and deployment. And by deployment, we mean the schedule that they have, but very importantly, how they're deployed in geography, the geography that is Reno and in the beats that they have. As I mentioned, we've got extensive input from staff within the department. We started talking to the chief, the captains and others within the department, and then quickly got down to mid-level supervisors and first-line supervisors. We'll be out there next week to do ride-alongs in the city for a few days so we can appreciate the layout of the city from a patrol perspective and to get the input of officers directly. I mentioned we also have an employee survey out there. Over half of the department, I don't have the exact number with me right now, but a high percentage of the department has responded to provide that kind of input to us. So again, the scope is looking at redistricting, about how you design your beats, as well as the shifts, and to emphasize community policing. By that, I mean their ability to be appropriately engaged with the community, to work in partnership with the community to solve problems, and to be deployed so that they can respond to problems quickly when they occur. So to get the community input, we've got 4 meetings that we scheduled, this one and one in a week, about 10 days, that'll also be virtual. And then one next week and one later week that'll be in person as well. So in general, and I'll explain a little bit more what I mean by these thoughts in a little bit. These meetings are designed to get feedback on patrol services and patrol needs in terms of their ability to cover the city and to interact with the community. So we're going to be most interested in their presence. Are they visible? Are they responsive to the community needs? And are they proactive in problem solving? So what I mean by that, and we're not going to break up the meeting and say for 20 minutes we're going to talk about community presence, for 20 minutes we're going to talk about something else, because when I do that it never works, because they kind of bleed over into each other. So I'm just telling you the kinds of things that I would like to hear, but it doesn't exclude your perception of positive things that are happening right now, as well as areas of improvement. So in community presence, are they officers visible in your area? Are they not just visible, but are they engaged with you? Have you had the experience where officers get out of their car and talk to you? Do you have any suggestions about how the police department could be more engaged? When I talk about responsiveness, this may relate to your experience about requesting a response because you had some sort of crime, or you're a victim, or some other kind of need. If you had experience at an emergency call, did they respond in less than something like 10 minutes? Hopefully a lot quicker than that. For a non-emergency call, something that may have been a minor or a cold call, or maybe quasi code enforcement type of thing. What was your experience there? Was it less than 30 or 40 minutes? Reno in the last few years has implemented the ability to have civilian responders to lower priority calls, community services officers. Are you good with that, or you would like to see that kind of thing expanded in order to accelerate the responses to lower priority calls for service? And do you think that that is an appropriate way to respond to community problems as appropriate? And do you have any suggestions for the patrol personnel to be more responsive? Proactivity. When you've expressed concerns about crime or quality of life issues, like in community meetings or other kinds of online or in-person opportunities that you have to provide input to the police department, have they been responsive to them? In community meetings, do they listen to you? Or are they mainly telling you what your problems are? I'd be really interested in that type of thing. For the public safety issues you identified, what are the highest priorities for you? And what do you think they should be doing about those priorities? So I guess to get started, I'm going to stop using the PowerPoint here. I think I'd like to hear a little bit from the community members who are here about in your neighborhood or area, what are the principal law enforcement issues that you're most concerned about? Are they property crimes? Are they violent crimes? Are they drug-related types of crimes? Are there traffic, like people speeding through residential neighborhoods? Are they other kinds of issues? And they all get down to the question of, do you feel safe in your neighborhood? So with that, again, I thank you all for being here. So when we get started with the interaction, please raise your hand if you want to speak, and Christy Smith will help me cue people to talk. When we start that process of providing input, let's try not to interrupt people, that people give their their perceptions out there. Let's be polite, obviously. We have no time limit, but let's be respectful of the time on this. It's scheduled for 2 hours. It doesn't have to go that entire time, but we'll do whatever is necessary for you. And then if you want to ask a question or make a comment in the chat, Christy from the police department is going to be monitoring that as well. So let me turn it over to you, and let's talk first about what are the issues that you're most concerned about in the city, and especially your neighborhood. No one? Okay, we can move on then. Let's open it up to issues associated with the things I identified, their visibility, etc. Yes.
Paul
Irving.
Irvine raised his hand, so we will let him kick us off.
Great, thank you very, very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. Thank you.
Okay, so Paul Irving is my name. I'm a retired law enforcement, 40 years, so I know a lot of the issues associated with what the police is going through. First and foremost, I want to thank Chief Nance for being here, and Assistant Chief Miller. Doing this and engaging the consulting firm is phenomenal. So I can't say enough about how much I appreciate that. I'm again, as I said, retired downtown Reno resident, live at the Palladio, 50 North Sierra Street. So I'm going to speak to the downtown issues. It is very, we have a lot of people here in a tight community. We've got not only large, some high level condominiums, apartment buildings. We also have a lot of bars, restaurants. There's a lot going on here. I'm in the Riverwalk district, so we're right on the river. There is a lot going on, and it is just it's become a really vibrant downtown. And I think Reno's done a great job at improving the Riverwalk district. You'll see on a Saturday evening, a Friday evening, a lot of crowds, a lot of people. Again, bars open up until all hours. One of the things we don't see is the police response. And believe me, as I said, law enforcement, many years, I understand the fiscal challenges that the PD is undergoing. Believe me, I get that. But there have been a number of initiatives over the years that I've noticed that have done well, but they're kind of short-lived. A lot of initiatives, like we had the bar car, I wrote a whole list of things. We had walking patrols. We had a community assistance safety team. I could go on. I think the assistant chief will probably know there are probably a half a dozen of these initiatives that have taken place over the years, and some of them very successful, where we have walking patrols. We have and really robust enforcement, zoning enforcement. But they seem to be kind of short-lived, and most of us in the downtown area will tell you we don't really get much police response at all. If we call for a lot of it's non-emergency, because again, it's not a murder or a homicide, it's somebody's that's in our building that's not authorized, somebody's maybe vandalizing the place, maybe we have a homeless person, whatever. Anytime we get a call, we call the PD. They're so cordial, so nice, but they're very upfront. Forget about it. There's no way we're going to be there within the next hour. Call your private security firm. So we use like Martin Ross Security, so we'll call a private security firm. But the reality is, and it's speaking to so many of the downtown residents, if we call, we're not going to get a response unless it's one of those, again, higher level crimes. So what would we like to see? We'd love to see patrols. We would love to see walking patrols, police presence. Many times, most of the folks downtown will say, we just don't see police down here, whereas a lot of times we'd like to, because we have a lot going on with the bars and with all the activity that goes on at night. So that's sort of my high level. I don't want to hog too much time, but downtown, we really would love to see more police presence. And if those are additional initiatives, like, as I say, the bar car or the walking patrols or whatever, what do we need to do to try to make that happen? I'm disappointed that a lot of the initiatives were short-lived because they were grant funded. So the grant runs out after a year and then it's gone. So with that, I want to thank the chief again, Assistant Chief, so much for your time and for engaging Matrix to do this study. And just really appreciate, looking forward to some additional continued input to you, Mr. Brady, and your team to provide whatever information we can give you to hopefully get a little more police presence downtown here. So thank you.
Okay, and thank you. And you brought up an interesting set of problems, especially being a downtown resident. Very dense, lots of activity, not all of it high priority, but a lot of it is low priority, as is the case anywhere. But I found it interesting how your description of how priorities change based on grant funding, largely, and not just departmental shifts in strategic plans or priority setting, is that the funding ran out. And so it's important for our study to show what the need is and what the resources that you need are without reliance on something like that, even if that means the best redeployment of existing personnel or adding additional personnel now or in the future.
Yep. There used to be, I was told years ago before we moved here, there was like a substation here, I think on First and Sierra. And that was phenomenal. I mean, the residents said it was great. We had police presence, and that presence alone is a tremendous deterrent, especially when you get all of the congestion, during especially a lot of those busy nights. But unfortunately, we just don't have that. And we get it. We understand also that the priority really, seems to be the casinos, that have a lot of problems. Don't get me wrong, they had a lot of phone calls. A lot of the PD responses are to the Grand Sierra Resort or up here to the Row, or we get that. We understand that. So a lot of us downtown residents, unfortunately, don't rate. But, and again, a lot of them are not those high level, high impact crimes, but the police presence would be just tremendous here, and would make the residents feel safer, and I think contribute to the downtown overall, environment. So
Great. Well, thank you. I think we've got another hand, Janet Lombardo.
Yes, hi, good morning. I want to thank you guys for having this. I always enjoy having conversations with the police department, bringing the community into it. It really does help. I want to just mention that I live in Sparks. However, I work in the downtown area around Liberty. And I want to echo what Paul was saying about police presence. I'm originally from New York. I lived there all my life on Long Island. And I remember back when we had all these little areas where the police would come and stay in their little station. And, it was just great to see them all the time out there and walking the beat. It was, you always felt safe, but I don't see a lot of that either in downtown area. And I think that it deters people from also, deters the bad apples sometimes, just having that presence there. And again, I agree. I kind of, agree with everything that Paul just said. I started a human trafficking prevention or anti-human trafficking prevention organization here and Northern Nevada. And I think that, having patrol in the areas, in those hot spots, is so important. And the hot spots are in and around the downtown area as well. It's happening everywhere. But that's what I would like to see, as a not a resident of Reno, because I'm in Sparks, but I do a lot of business, and my organization also is working with in Reno as well. So thank you again for the time and for allowing me to speak today. Thanks.
Can I ask a follow-up question? How your organization
Sure.
has talked to the police department about being aware, those types of things on human trafficking?
Well, it's funny you should ask. Um, we started the organization last year, and we were part of a global organization team that we just decided there was just um, too much needed to be done. And we wanted to be able to apply for funding so that we could really make a difference in Washoe County as well as Carson City. And so what we did was we formed our own organization. And so locally with all local residents. So we are just getting started. We just applied for a grant, and we're really looking to partner with all of law enforcement and work together. I've tried to get in touch with members of the HEAT team, and I've called for almost like since last year, and I'm just not making the connection. I walked over to the Sparks police station the other day just to get in front of someone with, hey, is there someone I can talk to that's here today? I know they're spread everywhere, and they're spread out, and they're involved in day-to-day stuff. Their voicemails are full. They are busy, so busy. So I completely get it. But currently we'd love to have partners, we'd love to partner in any way we can. I have my president is actually former federal law enforcement and worked with the gang units. He was a captain. He lives also in Sparks. I have part of the National Guard staff in Reno, out of Reno, working with my team. So we're ready to go, and we want to work together more and more and more. So yeah, sorry, that's probably a lot more than you asked for.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that. So the two people who have talked so far are both, well, one lives in, the other one works in downtown, which obviously is a special need within the city. It's its own police district, a small district when you compare that to the other districts, patrol districts in the city in the north and the south. So it's an area with special problems, as you both have described, relating to a wide variety of things, to lower priority things like graffiti and noise and things like that, to the potential for higher things. Do you feel safe when you're downtown? Do you feel safe at nighttime as well as in the daytime? Yes, Paul.
I would say a lot of the residents from the downtown condominiums here will probably say they don't necessarily feel safe at night. We have a lot of incidents here. I'd say primarily if you look at maybe 9, 10 p.m. to let's say 2 a.m. The later it gets, by the way, the tougher it gets. I think a lot of people are drinking. We have more incidents. But I think a lot of folks will voice a concern that they really would love to see police presence, because they don't necessarily feel very vulnerable, that there are so many folks coming and going. A lot of folks that they'll call anchors, a lot of the homeless that are here. There's mental illness obviously involved with that. Many of them are aggressive toward people walking in the street. So again, a police presence would be really desirable. And if it couldn't be done on a 24/7 basis, certainly we understand. Certainly those times when it's really busy, the evenings when we have a lot of the bars, restaurants open, and a lot of folks congregate downtown. So I hate to put a damper on it. I really want to be positive, but I think a lot of folks would indicate that they don't necessarily feel as safe as they'd like to be, especially when you're dealing with some pretty high-end condos here. Some of these condos are pretty expensive, and people really want a sense of being in a safe community.
Well, everybody deserves to feel safe too. So I think that's part of what we need to focus on here. Janet, do you feel safe during the daytime when I guess you're primarily working?
Yeah, primarily. I would say, and this isn't really fair because I've only lived in Nevada for 2 years. And so when you don't know the area, sometimes that in itself makes you not feel comfortable, right? Because you're in a stranger area, you don't know which way to go, you take a wrong turn and whoops, you're in an area where, you might not feel comfortable. So I would say in general, at night, I definitely would not feel comfortable. And again, that's just, me being who I am, always, aware. But I think with police presence and knowing and seeing and saying, I think that would make me feel safer.
Yeah.
Even what I find here in Nevada in general is the street lighting is really not adequate. I also am on a board with JTNN, which is the Joint Together Northern Nevada. And we work with, substance abuse and all of that. And, in the hot spots in the area, you'll find that they're dark, right? There's no lighting there. And it really causes problems for, people to kind of hang out there. And that's where the bad stuff happens. If it's well lit, it's going to deter them. So I really find that lighting is a big thing, and it's something that can be not always, it's not a simple fix always because of budgets like we are always dealing with, right? But there are certain things like, hey, that light is out, maybe we need to, get it fixed or stuff like that. But even just addressing those places that should be more lit up would be very helpful.
That's a really good point. I mean, in all of these studies, we focus on things like technology, but there are very low technological aspects to building in crime prevention in a community, and lighting is one of those.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any comments on this? One of the things I mentioned in the introductory comments was that in the last few years, Reno has developed some individuals who are professional staff, civilian staff, who assist in patrol to respond to some of the things that you've talked about here. Would you be open to more of those as a way of getting not just the visibility, but a more rapid response to things that may not be as high a priority as other things that are responded to, that may be taking up the time of sworn police officers in patrol?
I myself, I mean, I like the idea. I just feel for their own safety that I don't know how that works, and, whether or not if they're responding to community, anything could bring them into a situation that could be dangerous. So that's my only thought is it something that they would be able to, protect themselves? Do the laws protect them? Do they have laws that will protect them from being in situations, and, legally as well? So I'm not really sure how it works, but I think any presence is great. Paul, you might have more on that.
Yeah, to make sure I think I understand Richard's question, but and correct me if I'm wrong, but look, as I say, we understand the budget challenges and the manpower challenges. Totally understand that. And we can spend hours on that subject alone, trying to hire police officers in this environment. It's things have changed so much since I started, 40 years ago.
Sure.
A police patrol presence would be better, would be fine. We love officers walking the beat, especially in this downtown congested area. As I say, in the evenings, especially when it's really busy between 9 p.m., 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Having said that, we understand the staffing and the budget challenges. That walking the beat, that was like the old time policing. That is a tremendous amount of manpower. A patrol would be second best. Absolutely. A patrol just driving around every so often would make, I think, the residents feel safer, that at least we've got some response here, some quicker response. And that visibility would also assist with We have a lot of people doing some crazy things downtown with their vehicles, and they'll take over corners, and they do all sorts of, wacky stuff. But yes, a patrol is better than nothing. Certainly, as I say, walking the beat, nothing like it. But like that substation we had. But at the end of the day, we'll take whatever we can get. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. It's really helpful. Let me explain a little bit more about the civilian response idea, the way it works in Reno and in literally hundreds of other communities across the country, is that it's a way of managing all the requests for police service. Think about it as a spectrum. There are things at one end that are violent crime in progress types of things, very dangerous types of calls that you need people with specialized training, specialized equipment, et cetera, to respond to those types of things. Multiple officers often. As you go further down the scale, maybe you consider things like it doesn't need an immediate response. You can wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour or something, depending on what the needs of the situation and the needs of the individual who's complaining factor into that. All the way getting further down that spectrum of risk are things that things like taking reports over the telephone, which you can do, and in the middle there are responding with civilian paraprofessionals. So they have training, but not as much training as a law enforcement officer. They're trained to handle certain types of things. Minor crimes, mostly property crimes, mostly cold, like they happened in the past, and there's nothing active about it. And in various places, they handle things like fender benders and code enforcement types of things. But it's established at dispatch, in response to your question, Janet, about what the nature of the call is and whether it's appropriate to send a civilian paraprofessional, and that can be overridden by the sergeant or lieutenant or whatever. And so that's what the idea is. It's a way of sending the appropriate level of response in that whole spectrum that I talked about to whatever the situation is. There's a cost effectiveness element to it too, because civilian paraprofessionals aren't as expensive as police officers are, but for a variety of reasons. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I will say also that we're doing whatever we can to bridge the gap. For example, we are really engaged with the Downtown Arena Partnership Ambassador Program, and we're so happy that what has been done there. Neil Majardin's done a phenomenal job. Now we have the ambassadors, and we have sort of that stepped up the ambassadors that have sort of the next level, the security ambassadors that can do a little bit more. So bridge that gap. We're also, our building is not yet involved with it, but we're going to try to get involved with Fusus. I think that Montage just got online. We're going to work with on Fusus. And again, Chief, I cannot say enough. I really appreciate all you're doing to work with all these different levels to assist. So if we can't necessarily get that police officer right outside our door, and we understand the issues, with that, what other tools do we have to really, help us, with that presence and to respond to some of our issues. So we are engaged in trying to look at all options. So
glad you mentioned those. Paul, since you are living downtown, especially given your background in former law enforcement, but even for Janet and working downtown, have you been able to go to community meetings that are focused on policing?
I attend, at least I try to attend. I missed the last one, but there's a meeting I go to once a month. It's a safety and security meeting that the Downtown Arena Partnership has established. Jim Galloway, I think, set this up years ago. He's on the board of directors for the Downtown Reno Partnership, and I go to that to represent the Palladio. That is phenomenal. And again, from a law enforcement perspective, I loved it because it reminded me of my old days with task forces and, where you get everybody in the room. We've got the police is there, the sheriff is there, REMSA is there, the security directors for the city are there, the security directors for all of the casinos downtown, the ballpark, and some other local businesses. It is phenomenal. And that's once a month. And they bring up just issues. And by the way, your representatives there chief, fantastic. I can't say enough about that interaction. So that is fantastic. And that's, again, Downtown Reno Partnership. Neil Majardin is there. The head of her ambassador program is there. So that meeting is outstanding. And then, of course, the chief has made herself available at some of the forums here. I think that's fantastic. But that's the main one that I go to, which I think is really, really helpful.
Is that the kind of meeting where there's dialogue both sides and like in a problem-solving kind of way?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And
It's
we'll all,
like,
Jim right now sort of runs the meetings, but we'll go around the room and everybody provides input, what they're seeing. Usually the PD, the Reno PD will go first because they're sort of the big guys on the block. And it's like, okay, what's going on downtown? But the security directors from the row and all the casinos, Aces, Remza, everybody. By the way, the district attorney's office is represented. They'll talk about sort of their challenges, the sheriff about the jail and the CARES campus and staffing levels. And so it really is a good dialogue. Yeah.
Can you give me an example of something that happened in dialogue in terms of problem identification and solution discussion that actually led to a change?
Well, sure. There are a lot of examples. One that comes to mind, someone, Naomi Jordan will ask a question about how, we're trying to, get clean up some of the unhoused, and how do we sort of move people, a lot of times they'll be sent to the CARES campus, but they're back on the street, or maybe they'll be in lockup, but then they're back on the street, the next day. And then the assistant DA that's there will explain the law and what the challenges are and why they're doing everything they can. And so, there's a lot of very helpful dialogue on, why the solutions to some of these problems are not as easy. And everyone in the room is trying to find a solution. So that's one, but there are so many different, there may be trends that the various security directors will speak about, whether it's the gangs that were stealing catalytic converters, and they'll share information on lookouts so that everybody, all the security directors know who's what's going on. But a lot of examples, a lot of really, really helpful dialogue in the room.
Are there smaller scale opportunities too? I realize downtown is a little bit difficult, but things like neighborhood watch in more suburban areas.
Well, we downtown have a really good consortium of the Montage, Palladio that I'm in, Arlington Towers, Belvedere. We all will compare notes on what's going on. And so the larger downtown condominiums have a really good sort of network.
Yeah.
So, again, we're all sort of real close together. I can look out my window and I can see the other condominium buildings. So, we all do, talk. And again, we're encouraged. We're really, really, we've seen a lot of really good change downtown, and we're just trying to sort of keep the momentum going. We have seen an uptick in the homeless, obviously, the last few years. We know that that's an ongoing issue. So downtown, yeah. And again, I feel for the chief because, Reno is so spread out. You've got such a large area, and you've got so many hotspots, with the various casinos and big establishments. And that's why I say, echoing my comment earlier, I get it. We understand. You've got some really high priorities and a large area and limited staffing and budget and all those constraints. But at the end of the day, us downtown residents, we're looking for, obviously a little more.
Yeah. So is there general consensus that in downtown, which is people that are represented here and participating, that the high priority needs are being dealt with in terms of when there's a response to a significant type of crime or event, that those things happen quickly enough?
Well, I would say that, we've had last year, we had a number of shootings. We've had a few homicides in the area. And, my understanding is that, the PD responds very quickly to those, obviously. And, you know, I think they've solved pretty much most of them, if not all of them. There are a lot of them, they're local folks that are known to the PD, a lot of gang activity.
Right.
So that's comforting in a sense, although not comforting that we've got a shooting down the street or a stabbing down the street. But I think the general consensus will be the PD is that the PD has responded, you know, quickly to those incidents.
Okay. Earlier you had expressed some concern about the other end of the continuum, the quality of life, the lower priority types of crimes. What as well as the need to be proactive in some of those areas, which could benefit from that. For you, and also for Janet, what would be the highest priority needs for you that need to be addressed?
I'll just speak for a minute and then turn it back over to Janet. We just have a lot of you know, people that may come into our building that are not authorized, that'll try to you know, homeless that will, you know, enter, and we need to get them, you know, removed.
Mhm.
Some will become belligerent. Many sort of know their rights. I hate to say that, but we really sometimes need a stepped up enforcement presence to get someone removed. So again, we get it. It's not a murder, it's not a rape or necessarily an immediate assault, but we just want to get somebody out of the building that's not supposed to be here. Let me turn it over to Janet and I'll think of some other incidents, but when you see people in the area that are just not, or that try to come into your building that are not supposed to be here, it makes people feel really, really unsafe.
Yeah, because there's risk associated with that.
Yeah.
Janet, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I would agree. The same thing. You know, and we don't have the kinds of security we had in 9/11. I don't know, you know, around in and around that time when you'd have to have a certain pass to get into a building just to step foot in the door. I don't know if it was like that in Reno, but I was in New York City and Manhattan, and you know, you couldn't get anywhere. So, but yeah, the homelessness is a huge, huge problem here, it seems. And I just couldn't believe it when I came through for the first time visiting. And so I know that that's an issue, and of course, you know, it just makes you feel uneasy sometimes. And um I wanted to kind of go back to the community events, the community policing events and community meetings that go on. I'm not aware of a lot of those. I guess I need to get to them, and I'm looking forward to that. So, is there a schedule on the websites at all, like when they take place and where are they? Because I'll send someone from my organization to every one of them. I think it's a great thing and a great opportunity to learn from other people as well.
There is. I'll let the police department respond to that, though.
I'll respond to, there's a couple different options here. One is the Neighborhood Advisory Board, the NAB meetings that happen pretty frequently, and those are based on where your council districts are. Downtown, obviously, there's the Safety and Securities meeting. And then also we can talk about like when we do special event meetings and we're out in different areas. Those we generally post on social media, and sometimes either both through our social media and through the City of Reno Comms social media. So if you have social media, follow those. Sometimes we put them out in direct content also. But the regularly scheduled ones are the NAB meeting, the Downtown Safety Securities meeting, and anything else we usually advertise in that way.
Would it be possible to do a monthly, I know it's big, Reno's big, monthly community meetings, like at a library, where you just come in and talk about stats and, you know, get people's feedback? Is that
Those are generally covered in the Neighborhood Advisory Board meetings, and we usually
Okay.
always have a law enforcement representative there. And it's kind of a totality of everything going on in the city. So it's not just police, but it's if you have questions about potholes or water or sewers or graffiti,
Yeah.
anything, and all be in that space, but we do have police representative there, and we do provide quarterly feedback on crimes and stats and data, and those are broken down by council districts. And Christy might be able to direct you. I don't know where you sign up to get the information on those, but they're based on where you live and what council district or work or what a council district you're interested in.
Great, thank you.
It's just more all encompassing than us just doing a community meeting, but we do
Yeah.
also community meetings, but those are kind of the standard regular ones that you can find.
No, that totally makes sense. There's only enough time in a week.
How did the two of you and anybody else who's joined the Zoom find out about this meeting?
Well, I found out through, I think it was Facebook,
Okay.
probably, and it was just this morning. So I was lucky enough to jump on.
We got it from again our neighborhood. We got the press release that the PD released, or the city of Reno press release was fantastic. And then again with the consortium of folks here, everybody's talking. So it's been on the books for me. I'm a little surprised some more folks from the downtown area here are not on here today, but I think that they know that we have several of these. So that I'm sure you'll see some more presence coming up. Richard,
And
if I could okay, I'm
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
sorry. I apologize because I only had an hour this morning. So I'm gonna have to sign off, but I will make sure I'm on the next one as well. And hopefully have some more I can contribute. But thank you again, and thanks for all you're doing and all.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
also have a message in the chat, if you don't
Yes.
mind, some of your stuff related to human trafficking. My email is in there if you can reach out, just because I can do some follow-up with you on specific to that, not really about deployment, but on that. And then also, if you look at our Facebook page, all of the community meetings are listed, or Instagram, whatever social media you follow. All of our community meetings for this event are listed there for anybody that's interested.
Yes, wonderful. Yeah, I'll get that information to you. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right, bye-bye.
Coming to the meeting today, Janet. You've really been a valuable addition to this. I appreciate
Oh.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Hey, Richard, can I just reclaim 1 minute of my time on just
Oh,
one
of course you
issue
can.
real quick? Sorry. Can I go back to the issue of some of the lesser priority crimes that we see here? And I talked about the homeless, unhoused, and it may seem like, well, that's kind of low level, and yeah, it is, but we have them come in the building and they do all sorts of really bad things, like start fires, or they're belligerent toward they'll set up their own tent right here at their shop, right? If you have an open hallway or a lobby door that's unlocked or an alcove, they will set up shop, and God knows what will happen there. So it really is it's worse than it sounds. The other issue I'll mention, which is not really in the chief's purview, I don't think, and that's the noise downtown. And we're going to talk to, Kathleen Taylor, our representative here. I talked to Naomi about it, to do something maybe for a noise ordinance downtown, because the noise downtown here sometimes can be untenable. And, I know we understand it's a mixed use, area, but that's of concern to our downtown residents. But I just wanted to circle back on the homeless, that it's, we're dealing with sometimes mental illness, and it can get pretty scary.
And
Thank
as you know, it's certainly the police department representatives who are on, they have some specialized capabilities in that area, both in terms of general training as well as staff. And it is a growing area of concern, not just in Reno, but across the country, to have enough resources to deal with the fallout of behavioral health, mental health, and homeless types of generated issues.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Paul, it's all up to you, unless there's somebody else on this that would like to contribute something to the meeting we're having here.
Well, I just say one more thing. I've hogged the meeting enough. I want to thank the chief and assistant chief so much for your time, for all you're trying to do. And again, a lot of us understand that you've got really, really high priorities here. You just got a lot to handle. So we really appreciate you listening to us, reaching out, even engaging the consulting firm. And we all look forward to working with you. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. I'd be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge Assistant Chief Jacobson is on the call. He's one of the iPhone callers. coming in if you can't see him. So he's here. We are taking some notes. And again, Paul, I think my email address is in the group chat if we can talk, because I think we're planning on doing something at your building. We did something at the Montage before, so I think we're going to do something at your building to get more community engagement there. But again, not really a deployment issue, but I'd like to have an offline conversation with you. And then just so Richard, I'm just want to make sure that we do have one other iPhone user that's here. I don't know if they have anything to say, but they are not, as far to my knowledge, related to our group, so they would be a community member. So I didn't know if they had anything to say. I want to make sure that they had that opportunity if they wanted to add in.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the participants now. Yes, it's 775-771, etc.
If they're just to make sure that they had an opportunity if they needed it.
Hi, this is 771.
Great.
So,
I just saw the notices. I was cleaning up my backyard, and I'm always interested in developments in the community to make it better. So that was my reason for signing on.
Okay. Well, I don't know how long you were on. I wasn't looking at the participant list. Did you get the sense of what we've been talking about here in terms of the
I
need?
got on about 10 minutes ago.
Okay. So we talked quite a bit earlier about police visibility in the area. I don't know what part of the city that you live in, but how important that is, and the importance of making people feel safe, not just for high priority calls, but also for low priority needs in the community. Do you have anything you'd like to say about those areas?
I am in West Reno, up by
Okay.
McQueen High School. I have noticed that in communities around the country, there is police presence within neighborhoods where police are actually walking the beat and all of that. Well, it takes money to do that, I'm sure, but it's something that keeps the public connected with the police force and see them as an ally and not as something that's contrary. I've seen that work. I mean, I've seen that in many different areas. I don't know how effective it is, but the whole idea was contact with the police should not be a surprise or something that someone should be afraid of or concerned about. They need to be looked at as neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
That's my overall comment.
Do you feel that you have that?
I haven't had a need for that. I feel comfortable talking to policemen that I might run into, whether it's at a coffee shop or anywhere else.
Yeah.
Even feel good about buying them coffee if I get there before they do. But
Sure, that's
no, I don't
appreciated.
have an issue. I don't have an issue with that. I'm heavily
Okay.
involved in the community and will continue to do so.
Okay. Do you feel safe in your part of Reno?
I do.
Okay,
I did
good.
have somebody break into my truck. I have a 2021 Ford F-150. And after a year of owning it, someone tried to steal it. They just literally tore it apart. The police they couldn't start it, though they tried many ways to do it. But the police lady came and did everything she could and took a report, etc. I wasn't afraid of that. I'm just basically surprised that it would happen in this neighborhood.
Yeah. And the responding officers did what they could, and they did it quickly.
Yeah, and they were very professional. She was very professional.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you. I guess
welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we've got. Chief, do you have anything more to add?
No, just sir, if you are interested in adding into this meeting ever again, there is multiple options for that, both hybrid, in person, and then through Zoom. And those are on our social media page. So there will be I think 3 other meetings upcoming if you're interested in joining any of these, any of those also. So totally up to you, but thank you for joining here tonight or this
Great.
morning.
Yep. Okay, well, thanks to everyone who joined us there today, and we look forward to the next 3 meetings.
I think we had one other community member join on just now, so
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
we need
Okay.
to give them the same opportunity if needed.
To the person who just joined us, we've been getting input from the community about the visibility of police in the community and how responsive they are. We are doing a study for the city and the police department to look at what its staffing needs are in patrol, to look at how they are deployed throughout the city and the kind of shifts that they had, to make them more responsive and more consistently responsive and more consistently proactive in the city. So we've been working with the department for the last couple of months, and we'll be completing our work in the next month or two. We thought it was important in the design of this project to not just collect a lot of statistics, but to hear from the community about what their needs are, and that's the purpose of this meeting. So if you've got anything to add at this meeting or at the next 3 meetings that we've got, you are welcome to do so.
Awesome, thank you. I joined in a little bit late. I work for the city with the clean and safe team, and so I just was planning on joining in and listening and trying to learn a little bit more from the perspective of my role as well. I work with the CAOs super often. They're all amazing, and so yeah, I was just coming in to listen because I'm nosy, that's all.
Well, you've got 3 other opportunities to do that, 2 in person, 1 more remote. Besides listening, do you have any thoughts or experience relating to police response or problem solving in your part of the city?
No, with my role, we usually work exclusively with the CAOs. And honestly, I have nothing but amazing things to say about them. So
That's good.
yeah, super stoked to work with them. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you, Mary.
I
Okay.
captured all the community members that have joined and left in between this. So
And we've recorded this, and I think all of us, I know I have too, taken notes during this. So this has been a valuable first meeting, and I'm looking forward to the next ones in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you very much for having us.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for coordinating this, Christy.
bye.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Christy.
Thanks.
Thank
See you
you.
guys next week. Bye.